I've been watching people for a very, very long time. I can see all tomorrows, and few in a century catch my interest. So believe me when I say, this channel is worth your attention. Watch, like, and subscribe.
The Whales, supernatural beasts of beauty and sadness in the world of Dishonored, whose suffering powers the industrial wonders we encounter. What is the nature of these sea creatures, and what is the source of their magic? There are no conclusive answers to these questions, but we can come up with some compelling hypotheses. There have of course been multiple videos on Dishonored lore before mine, and especially on whales, so I hope this one doesn't seem too redundant, and I appreciate each and every view and subscriber. The whales are the largest non-mythical animal we encounter or hear of in the games, and are often referred to by the moniker Leviathan. They share some characteristics with whales in our world, and some important differences. They are dozens of feet long and weigh tens of tons, dark blue on top and gray on the bottom. There is great variation in physiology between individuals. Some have brown stripes across the top. They possess large pectoral fins, a small set of pelvic fins, and tail fins for movement. They have a row of very small dorsal fins along the back, which may aid in balance. In our world, whales may have anything from large dorsal fins to none at all, with the latter likely an adaptation to ice-heavy Arctic environments. The whales in Dishonored seem somewhere in between, as befits the environment of the mainly northerly isles. In addition to fins, they sport two sets of appendages near the mouth, referred to as tentacles in writings, but are actually barbels, sensory organs which can help smell or taste the presence of potential food in the surrounding water. These can be seen prominently on catfish, barbelfish, and other sea creatures. The presence of two sets of very large barbels on the whales likely makes them excellent predators. This can explain another big difference between them and the whales we know. Whales in our world will possess either teeth or baleen. Whales in Dishonored have both, allowing them to consume larger prey with their teeth, as well as filter smaller food sources such as krill and plankton through the broom-like structure along the upper jaw. Their precious oil is stored in blubber in pelvic organs. Whales live and hunt in pods, which natural philosophers such as Picodi call families, to much mockery. In the Leviathan Sorrow we learn of his pamphlets arguing against the hunting of whales, but this is by far a minority view. They are seasonally migratory, following food sources throughout the year. In a previous video I mentioned Douglas Church, who used a diving bell to observe them in their natural habitat, and who described them as gentle, curious, and intelligent. This contradicts the popular view of whales as fierce, violent monsters, mostly coming from the whalers who are in the process of trying to harpoon them.
Can you imagine being attacked by such a monster out at sea? They're horrible creatures.
Whales were initially hunted for their meat, organs, bones, and every other part. Whale meat is a major staple of diets all across the Isles, with Dabokva potted whale meat particularly favored. Butchers are paid extra for the skilled work of sawing off the best pieces. Less desirable cuts are used to feed hounds and livestock. Magical runes and bone charms can be made from the bones of many animals. For example, in Tivia, charms have been made from walrus tusks and bear bone. Vera Moray even boiled her husband's bones to make runes. However, artifacts of whale bone are usually the most effective. But of course, the most important whale product is their oil. Great steam-powered whaling trawlers designed by Anton Sokolov are purpose-built to harpoon them, and when they tire from blood loss, spear their tail fins and haul them aboard onto a suspension frame, then carry them back to slaughterhouses still alive, with serial numbers painted on their bodies to keep track of the inventory. There they are subject to both scientific vivisection as well as harvesting. Their blubber is extracted while they are still alive, and large electrodes are used to stimulate the generation of extra amounts of oil. Dowd encounters a whale in such a state during the Knife of Dunwall at the Rothwild slaughterhouse, and can put the beast out of its misery. We can see the raw blubber being harvested, which is rendered by boiling to remove excess water and separate the oil away from solids, then decanted or percolated over to collect purified oil. In our world, whale oil and sperm whale wax oil was used for many purposes, including lighting, lubrication, and even soaps. Lamps burned the brown oil with low light but much smoke and an unpleasant odor. Before the discovery of petroleum and kerosene, whale oil was a major industry, with the Nantucket, New Bedford, Massachusetts area the world capital of whaling in the early 19th century. This is also the initial setting of Herman Melville's novel Moby Dick. In Dishonored, operations like Rothwild's and the Greaves Refinery purify whale oil to a highly energetic, shimmering white or light blue liquid, which explodes if ignited or even physically disturbed to enough degree. This process, as I've mentioned in previous videos and is illustrated in the excellent Tales from Dunwall webisode, was discovered in the early 1800s by Esmond Roseborough, when he noticed people tossing raw whale blubber onto fires for warmth. If one did this with refined oil, they would be looking for new eyebrows. So the refining process is able to greatly concentrate the energy stored in the oil. In 1820, Roseborough partnered with Sokolov to further develop technologies based on it, and thus this oil powers all the fantastic devices we encounter. It was also used as a tool of oppression by the governing powers even before the Lord Regent took over. In addition to a power source, some have discovered even more esoteric uses. Nurse Trimble devised a way to use whale oil transfusions to extend Mortimer Hatt's life indefinitely, but at the cost of mobility and independence. Unrefined whale oil is an ingredient in choke dust, and a drop of whale oil is present in exotic liquors such as King Street brandy. By 1852, overhunting reduced the whale population to an endangered level, leading to rationing decrees by Empress Emily and corresponding increases in prices. In Karnaka, windmills are used as an alternative power source, though you can still occasionally spot a whale off the coast. The fact that only about 50 years of industrial whaling caused such a drastic decline in population implies that whales are few in number and long-lived creatures that reproduce slowly, showing whale oil to be an absurdly unsustainable energy source. This is mirrored in our world, where whale oil reached its peak in the 1850s, but fell off afterward due to the discovery of petroleum. Piero Joplin pondered on the source of this energy, wondering if it was produced by the cold and high pressures of the deep ocean, and whether a human could be conditioned to reproduce the process, given
the necessary legal amnesty.
But our observations while playing Dishonored might give us a better answer. When we enter the void and encounter the outsider, we see representations of objects in the physical world: land, buildings, vehicles, even people. But these are all immobile, frozen snapshots. The only other seemingly living thing apart from ourselves and the outsider are whales, swimming through the ether as though it was the ocean. Assuming it's still alive, of course. The reason for this is revealed in developer commentary. Whales exist simultaneously in the physical world and the void. All magic emanates from the void, including magic mediated by the outsider's mark. It's easy to see that creatures who are inextricably tied to it, who are in constant contact with it, and are an inherent part of it will draw much of the void's power into that part of them that exists in the physical world. It has been hypothesized in the past that the whales and the outsider are one single entity, sometimes referred to as Leviathan. This has since been revealed not to be the case. The outsider mostly remains in the form he took when he was human. The whales are a separate creature, but there is still a deep connection between them. we can see that the energies of the void can leak into the world, particularly where the boundary is thin. In Death of the Outsider, the Envisioned can be seen passing into and out of the world at will, or at random. This might be a more primitive version of the state the whales occupy, where permanent coexistence results in drawing raw void power, or magic, into the very fluids of their bodies, and this is the source of their oil's energy density. Why are whales special? No other creature in the Isles seems to possess this property. If life in the world of Dishonored took the same evolutionary pathways as in our world, the whales must have developed long before the advent of the Outsider, 4,000 years ago, and even before the existence of humans. We know that there have been void gods long before the Outsider, and no one knows how far back that's been the case. The stone formation around the Eye of the Dead God at Shinderi Peak has a vaguely humanoid shape, but we know that previous void gods have taken many strange forms. Are the whales the literal or metaphorical children of one of these previous ancient entities? Or did their evolutionary ancestors somehow enter the void and merge with it without turning into the stone-like void material as the Envisioned did? We know from the Overseer's music boxes that certain combinations of sounds can block void energy and inhibit magic users' powers. We also know that special significance is paid to whales' songs by multiple characters, even the Captain Ahab-like Rothwild.
Yes, sing me a lullaby while I have another drink.
It has been stated that void gods might have existed as an abstract series of music notes. It could be possible that the whale song is an echo of these notes, and is able to somehow call upon void magic. Perhaps a previous void god in some remote past saw the whales as the most intelligent creatures in the world at the time, and granted them their dual existence. Or maybe they existed first in the void, then gradually evolved into the world. The whales in Dishonored represent a magical force of nature that is being brutally exploited to feed an insatiable industrial hunger. Their disappearance, as well as the death of the Outsider, one way or another, signals a coming period of uncertainty for the people of the Isles. It struck me while putting together the visuals for this video how sad it is that we never get to see the whales up close as anything other than bloody carcasses. If you try to swim out to the ones you spot off the coast, you run into an invisible wall. The truth about the whales and their deep connection to the void may never be fully understood, and maybe it's best left that way. The Dishonored fandom has expressed a variety of opinions on the decision to pull back the curtain on the Outsider's origin and backstory, and some would have preferred not knowing the details. This might also be the case with the whales. As Sokolov says,
"The world is better with a hint of mystery."
Hi everyone, thanks for watching. My latest book, The Artificer's Knot, has been out for almost 2 months, but still has only a measly 3 ratings on Amazon. The ebook is now free to download, so please go check it out and give it a nice review so I can become rich and famous, quit my job, and make videos full time.